So my name is Katie. He did a lengthy little bio there about me, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. But I do own Compass Counseling. I grew up in a really small town outside of Owensboro, and my husband and I are opening a restaurant, Chicken Salad Chick, in late spring here in Paducah. We're super excited about that. I love small towns, small business, and helping people live on purpose. So now we're going to talk for just a second about our brackets, which you all have already talked about that a little bit. And all of our brackets, I mean, 100% of them are just busted. So they're all out of whack. I know that Sandra and I were talking about this last night. We don't really know who decides that all of the brackets are done, but somebody does, and they said that they were. So today we're going to take that March Madness theme, and we're going to talk about preparing for game time, taking timeouts, and scoring to help us get on track and to pursue a life that will bring us joy and purpose. So the first thing I want to talk about is to prepare for game time. We're going to have to think like a pro. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is mindset. So what is mindset? Your mindset is something, it is your established set of attitudes. So this means that they have been established by you. So you have decided your attitudes and your mindset. And it often is also your own perspective on your abilities. And I don't know if any of you all have read the book by Carol Dweck called Mindset. It's very good. I've read it years ago, but usually mindset is classified according to Carol as a fixed or growth mindset. And so what that means is if we're thinking about skills that we have, a fixed mindset might say, well, you were born with it, or you just know what you know. A growth mindset may say, you can get better, you can practice, you can learn, things can change. Same thing with attitude. So if your attitude on challenges are something we must avoid at all costs, it could make me look stupid if it's a challenge that I'm not prepared for. Whereas a growth mindset may be, you know, this is a challenge. It's something I'm going to embrace. I'm going to grow through this, whether this is excellent or not the first time around. So just take a second and think about what kind of mindset do you feel like that you're in, and could it use a makeover? Making changes to your mindset requires us being more self-aware. And it's hard for most people to make changes in their mindset without spending some really dedicated time and intentionally doing that. So a challenge point on mindset makeover may be for you to actually take a lunch break during your workday and get into what is called, I'm going to go here, a parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the system in our body that shows us, or that automatically naturally helps us calm down and relieve stress. So it's the opposite of fight or flight. So if you're in fight or flight, you feel like that you're meeting a crisis or a chaotic moment head on. And that parasympathetic nervous system, if that's being taken care of, that's your body's natural way of battling stress. So whether you sit in a quiet place, practice some deep breathing, pray, journal, meditate, nap, listen, whatever your thing is, take a few minutes during your lunch break and do that before you get back to the grindstone. This is going to help renew your mind naturally and get you out of that stress mode, even if it's just for a second, and help us to have a better and a growth mindset. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about here today is creating a plan, because all good teams and athletes have a plan that includes plays and schedules. And another book that I read, I'm going to give you guys this information, is by Hal Elrod, called Miracle Morning. I'm a student and a fan of his as well. But a quote that he says often in his book that I share often is, the more you leverage a foundational schedule, the more freedom you'll ultimately create. So I know a lot of us are like, well, I'm a grown up, I don't need to create like a schedule like they have at school. They create a schedule at school for a reason, and that is because it works. But if we do not have a schedule in place for ourselves, a lot of times we'll get off track in how we're trying to handle life. And to build whatever your foundational core calendar is going to be for yourself, I like to start with people when I'm working with consulting clients on creating their own personal mission and values and vision statement. And so that's another challenge that I'm going to give you here for point 2, is to create your own personal mission and vision statement and read it regularly. Hal would probably say read it every day. You can make it a part of your core schedule and routine, but at least read it weekly, because it's going to help you think like a pro and remember why you've created the schedule you've created for yourself. The third thing we're going to talk about today is putting time in its place. With the schedule, it kind of bleeds into number 3. If you have a core calendar and a core schedule for your work week and everything has a bucket, then you're going to be able to enjoy your time when you're away from work a little bit more, and your time away on the weekends and on vacation. Time is sort of like money in this way. We can't always predict how our time's going to go, or things that are going to happen, in our life that are going to require dipping into savings and those types of things, but you can plan for it. And so if you are planning your time well and telling your time what to do, like you can tell your money what to do with the budget, you can tell your time what to do with the schedule. So spending your time on purpose will allow you to have time to spend. You need to have fun. A lot of times there's not a lot of emphasis put on that as a young person or a professional. Like once you're out of college, it's like, okay, fun time over, serious time start. That's a mistake. So you have to have some time for yourself to have some fun and to blow off some steam. You also have to have time to spend with people you love. A lot of times when I'm talking with people on their personal mission and vision statement, we talk a lot about people we love and our legacy and our future and what we want to contribute. But if we look at our schedules, we don't really plan for that. So we want to make sure that you're placing a premium on time outside of work to take care of your health and your emotional health, your mental health, and your family. The next thing we're going to talk about here that kind of leads into taking time outs and recognizing the power of your pause. I know so many people and they're like, I don't need a break. I don't need a lunch break. I don't need a vacation. I don't need time away. Well, they're wrong. So they're going to burn out at some point in time, or they're going to have a health issue, or something's going to eventually come, because we're people. We're not robots. So in the same way that pro athletes, they cannot be in playoff mode year round. Your psyche cannot handle that. So you can't handle 12 to 16 hour work days every day of the week, ongoing stress without a break or a breakthrough. So of course, a lot of us can power through for a season, but when we're talking about taking time out, we have to talk to ourselves about if the work pace that we're creating for ourselves is sustainable. And I know that through COVID, everybody had a different work schedule. Some people worked from home and it was kind of weird for a while. Some people kicked it into high gear and had to work, 50, 60-hour weeks, which is not sustainable for a lot of people. But during this time, as we're trying to renew and refocus, take a second to think about, okay, so when and how do I renew now? Because now's a little different than before. And has that changed? I know for me, a way that I take time out was to travel a lot, and I would go out of town to visit family and friends, and that changed over the past year. So just making adjustments it doesn't mean that I still didn't need time out, just like it still doesn't mean that you don't need time out, but just kind of making adjustments as needed to those things are important. So a challenge point on taking time outs and a recommendation that psychologists give is to have 14 hours a week of device-free time. That's a lot. And that means no emails, no text messages, no social, no scrolling, no texting with your kids. And the suggestion that was made in the research that I read was to start slow and to pick bigger blocks of time on the weekend if you wanted, or to do 2 hours a day. And that's something that you can work towards and make little habits at a time. I think I'm okay on time. I'm going to check it. Oh, I'll be super fast. Okay. The last thought I have is to get down to business. We're going to get down to business really quick and put everything that I just talked about together. So being successful isn't easy, and it's hard work in deciding what you want. You have to choose your mindset about how you're going to think and how you're going to behave about the process and be responsible for your own goals. You need to prepare for setbacks and follow a plan. I love this quote by Michael Jordan. And because it's basketball, I thought I would share it. He once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." I love that. It's a growth mindset quote, and I like sharing it often. So to put everything into action, we're going to just work towards what we want. We're going to make a plan. And instead of having the mindset of, I deserve this, someone should give it to me, or someone owes me for this, try thinking, I want this, so I'm going to be responsible for taking these actions. We've covered a lot in a very short amount of time. And I just wanted to thank PYP for having me. I'm a member. I've been a member for a while. And I'm going to stop sharing this. And I feel like I just like bombarded you all with like information on the fast and dirty version, but I'm going to do a group for PYP members. I'm going to put a link here if you want to do it. If you want help with this, you can get it. It's a great thing. These are things that I started implementing over the past 2 years, one thing at a time. And you just have to take it one step at a time. The Atomic Habits book is a phenomenal book as well. And I'm happy to share any of that information if you want it. Do you have any questions? Everybody's killing it.
Those 14 hours, do those count when we're sleeping?
Oh, Whitney.
I'm kidding.
That's a hard one. I don't do that. I mean, that's a good goal to have, but that's a hard one.
I know.
It's definitely an awareness point, isn't it?
Because you almost feel like you need to set up like a out of office reply or text that goes out. Like it'll be a while when really it's okay for it to be a little bit.
It's totally okay to be a little bit. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoy the weather. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can join the accountability groups. It's going to be 4 weeks after spring break, after we renew. Some people are going to renew for spring break, and it'll be a lunchtime. It'll be a lunchtime meeting. So if you're into it, there it is. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us at Compass Counseling. We have lots of freebies. We have a free ebook on the website. We have a podcast. We have blogs. We have all kinds of free stuff if you need help for that.
Great job, Katie.
Thanks, Matt.
That accountability group, you're going to start it after spring break, and it's for 4 weeks at lunch, but they do need to register with you, and there is a fee with that one, but it's kind of a group.
Yeah, and it's
a support group.
We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to go over all the things that I talked about today. We're going to go about it like in depth, like, and work through creating a core schedule for yourself, a mission vision statement, all those kind of things. So we're just going to work through a little chunk at a time for 4 weeks during lunch, and I'm going to do it. So it'll be with me.
Great.
We'll have fun.
Great job, Katie. Can't wait for your restaurant. When do you guys open again?
Yeah. Late spring.
Late spring.
Our newest chamber member too. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.